Hi everyone, I'm a woman from the USA, just past my 60th birthday, and I'm here to help us live our golden years with energy and joy. Today, I've got a story that might ring a bell for you, how I uncovered the evening habits that were quietly stealing my sleep and how I turned them around to rest deeper and wake up refreshed every single night. If you've ever lain awake, tossing and turning with burning eyes that refuse to close, or dragged yourself out of bed feeling more tired than when you went in, I've been right there with you, feeling that frustration seep into my bones. I'll walk you through my journey, from those restless nights in Charlotte, North Carolina, to finding simple, practical fixes that brought my sleep back like a long-lost friend, making my mornings brighter and my days fuller. This isn't about giving up everything you enjoy in the evening, it's about making small tweaks so sleep becomes your ally again. I hope this tale lights a spark for you, because in our golden years, a night of deep rest is the golden ticket to living our best lives. Sleep used to be my haven, a place I could escape to effortlessly. I live in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I've always treasured my quiet evenings, sitting in my favorite armchair with a steaming cup of tea, listening to the gentle rustle of the oak trees outside my window. Back in the day, I'd hit the pillow and drift off in minutes, sinking into sweet dreams that carried me through till morning, waking up with a spring in my step and a clear mind ready to take on the day. But a few years ago, something shifted, and that peaceful haven started slipping through my fingers. I'd lie in bed, eyes squeezed shut, willing myself to sleep, but my mind would race like a runaway train, thoughts tumbling over each other with no off switch. Some nights, I'd watch the clock tick past 2 or 3 a.m., counting every second as it dragged on, only to crawl out of bed in the morning feeling like a hollow shell, my eyes shadowed with dark circles, my hands trembling as I fumbled to pour my coffee. I'd groan to my husband, "Honey, sleep's run off and left me behind." He'd chuckle and say, "You're just overthinking it," but I knew deep down it wasn't that simple. I longed to sink into deep, restful sleep again, not just to recharge my body, but to reclaim my days, to have the energy to play with my grandkids, tend my garden, and feel alive instead of half awake. At first, I tried every trick I could think of to lure sleep back into my life, grasping at anything that might work. I'd heard chamomile tea was a miracle worker, so I picked up a box from Harris Teeter and sipped it religiously every night, hoping its warm, floral taste would lull me into dreamland. But I'd still lie there, tossing and turning, my mind stubbornly awake despite the tea's promises. I'd read online that counting sheep could help, so I'd lie in bed picturing fluffy white flocks leaping over a fence, counting up to 1,000, only to find my eyes still stinging and my body restless, no closer to sleep than when I started. I stumbled across articles saying to dim the lights early, so I'd turn off every bulb in the house by 8 p.m., plunging my bedroom into darkness, but instead of drifting off, I'd feel more restless, staring into the void with a racing heart. I'd watch my friends at church, some of them sleeping like babies every night, their faces glowing with rest, while others grumbled about insomnia just like me, and I'd think to myself, why can't I be one of the lucky ones who sleep easy? I didn't want to turn to sleeping pills, terrified of getting hooked or feeling groggy, just wanted a natural way to bring back that deep, unbroken rest I used to know. I needed sleep to come home to me, not just for my tired body, but for my spirit, to wake up feeling like myself again, ready to embrace every moment. The turning point came last month when I visited my dear friend Lan, a college buddy who now lives in Raleigh, about an hour's drive from Charlotte. We were sitting in her cozy kitchen, slurping bowls of her homemade beef noodle soup, the kind with rich broth and tender meat that warms you from the inside out, when I let my guard down and spilled my troubles. "Lan, I can't sleep anymore, I lie there all night like a fool, staring at the ceiling," I said, my voice heavy with exhaustion. She laughed, a bright, knowing sound, and said she'd been in my shoes not long ago, tossing and turning until she figured out how to fix it. She'd picked up some wisdom from an online yoga class she'd taken during the pandemic, learning that what you do in the evening can make or break your night's rest. She looked me in the eye and pinpointed 3 habits I was guilty of: scrolling my phone until the wee hours, eating big snacks right before bed, and letting my bedroom turn into a sauna. She leaned in and said, "Fix these, and you'll sleep like a baby, I promise." I raised an eyebrow, skeptical as could be, and replied, "Really, Lan? That's all it takes?" But I trusted her, she had that glow of someone who'd cracked the code, so I drove back to Charlotte with her words echoing in my head, determined to give it a try. The results stunned me. I'm sleeping deeper than I have in years now, and I want to share every detail with you. Here's what I learned, how I made it work, and how you can too. Habit 1. Scrolling your phone until late keeps your brain wired. The first habit Lan called out was my phone addiction, and boy, was I guilty. Every night, I'd curl up in bed or sit in my armchair, scrolling through Facebook to see what my grandkids were up to, catching up on news headlines, or laughing at silly cat videos on YouTube until 11 p.m., sometimes even midnight if I got sucked in. I thought it was my way to unwind, a little treat to melt away the day's stress, but instead, my eyes would burn, my head would buzz, and sleep would stay miles away no matter how tired I felt. Lan explained that the blue light pouring out of the screen tricks your brain into thinking it's still daytime, shutting down the production of melatonin, that magic hormone that tells your body it's time to sleep. She'd been just as hooked, staying up until 1 a.m. scrolling through recipes and travel vlogs, only to wake up the next day feeling like she'd been hit by a truck, her eyes puffy and her energy zapped. She'd kicked the habit by setting a hard cutoff at 9 p.m., leaving her phone in the kitchen and picking up a book instead, and within days, she was drifting off earlier and sleeping sounder. I decided to give it a shot, even though the thought of parting with my phone felt like losing a limb. That first night, I set my phone down in the living room at 8:30 p.m., far enough that I couldn't cheat and grab it, and picked up an old paperback I'd been meaning to read, Little House on the Prairie, a comforting story from my childhood. My fingers itched to check just one more post, my mind whispered excuses like, what if someone texts me? But I pushed through, flipping pages under the soft glow of my bedside lamp. After about 20 pages, my eyes started to droop, a yawn slipped out, and by 10 p.m., I was out cold, no racing thoughts, no restless legs, just pure, quiet sleep. The first few nights were a battle, I won't lie, I'd catch myself halfway to the living room before turning back, but by the end of the first week, I was falling asleep earlier, sleeping deeper, and waking up without that foggy haze that used to plague me. Now, I make it a rule. Phone stays out of the bedroom, and I read a few chapters every night, letting the calm of a good story wash over me until my eyelids can't fight it anymore. Lan was right when she said, that phone's a sleep thief, kick it out of your night. It's been a game changer, giving me back the rest I'd lost. I called Lan a few days later, curious for more details, and she broke it down for me over the phone while I sipped my morning coffee. She said that blue light messes with your brain's natural clock, keeping it alert when it should be winding down, blocking melatonin for hours after you put the screen away. By cutting it off early, you give your body a chance to relax, let that sleepy hormone flow, and drift into rest without a fight. I used to stay up late watching cooking shows or scrolling through endless posts, waking up with a head full of cotton and a body that begged to stay in bed, but now, I'm out like a light by 10, sleeping through the night with dreams I actually enjoy. My husband gave it a try too, leaving his phone charging in the kitchen at 9 p.m., and he's been snoring peacefully ever since, telling me over breakfast, you were right, it's better this way. My sister in Atlanta heard me rave about it, tried it herself, and texted me a week later, I feel sharper already, no more midnight scrolling. It's such a simple shift, but the payoff is huge, like unlocking a secret door to rest I didn't know was there. Habit 2. Eating big before bed overworks your stomach. The second habit Lan nailed me on was my late-night snacking, and I couldn't deny it, I was a culprit through and through. After 9 p.m., when the house got quiet and the day's hustle faded, I'd feel a little rumble in my stomach and head to the kitchen, grabbing a handful of cookies, a bowl of leftover noodle soup from dinner, or even a peanut butter sandwich if I was feeling extra peckish, eating it all just minutes before climbing into bed. I'd always thought a full belly would coax me to sleep, like a warm hug from the inside, but instead, I'd lie down feeling bloated, burping softly, my stomach gurgling and churning while I tried to settle in, keeping me awake no matter how much I wanted to drift off. Lan told me that eating late forces your stomach to work overtime digesting when it should be resting, pumping up your system and making your sleep shallow and fitful. She'd been there too, munching on crackers or fruit late at night after long days, only to wake up sluggish and heavy, her body complaining from the extra load. She'd switched to stopping food by 7 p.m., sipping water or nibbling a few walnuts if hunger struck, and it turned her nights around. I decided to test her advice, even though giving up my nighttime treats felt like a small tragedy. That first evening, I set a cutoff at 8 p.m., no food after that, no exceptions, and when the hunger pangs hit around 9:30, I poured myself a glass of warm water instead, sipping it slowly while I sat in my armchair, telling myself, "You can do this." My stomach grumbled a bit, protesting the change, and I was tempted to sneak just one cracker, but I held firm, breathing deep until the urge passed. By bedtime, my belly had settled, and I slipped into sleep lighter and easier than I had in weeks. No tossing, no turning, just a gentle slide into rest. The first few nights were a struggle, I'll admit. I'd stare longingly at the pantry, imagining the taste of chocolate chip cookies, but after a few days, my body adjusted, the late hunger faded, and I started sleeping deeper, waking up without that heavy, bloated feeling that used to weigh me down. Now, I eat my dinner early, keep it light with some grilled chicken and veggies, and if I'm peckish later, I stick to water or a tiny handful of almonds, letting my stomach rest so my sleep can deepen. Lan hit the nail on the head when she said, "Late snacks crash your rest, let your belly sleep too." It's transformed my nights into something peaceful and pure. I pressed Lan for more when we chatted again, wanting to understand why it worked so well, and she laid it out clear as day. She said eating close to bedtime ramps up your digestion, spiking stomach acid and keeping your body temperature up when it should be cooling down for sleep, signaling your brain to stay active instead of shutting off. By eating earlier and lighter, you give your system a break, letting it wind down naturally so you can sink into that deep, restorative rest we all crave. I used to wake up feeling like I'd run a marathon in my sleep after those late-night feasts, my stomach still full and my energy nowhere to be found. But now I rise light as a feather, ready to face the day with a smile. Judy, my neighbor, caught wind of it when we were chatting over the fence, tried skipping her late popcorn, and told me a week later, "I sleep so much better now, no more midnight rumbles." My grandson even gave it a go when he stayed over, skipping his usual bedtime cookies, and bounced out of bed the next morning saying, "Grandma, I feel great." It's a small change with a mighty reward, like giving your body permission to rest the way it's meant to. Habit 3. Letting your bedroom get stuffy disrupts your peace. The third habit Lan pointed out was my bedroom setup, and I hadn't even thought it could be the problem. I was letting it get way too stuffy. Living in Charlotte, where summers can feel like a steam bath, I'd keep my windows shut tight to block the heat, running a puny little fan that barely moved the air, thinking it was enough to keep me comfortable. But I'd wake up drenched in sweat, my pajamas sticking to me, my head pounding, and my body exhausted, like I'd spent the night fighting the heat instead of resting. Lan explained that a warm, stuffy room makes your body restless, throwing off your sleep cycle because it can't cool down the way it needs to for deep rest. She'd struggled with the same thing, sleeping in a hot room with no breeze, waking up tired and cranky, until she started keeping her space cooler with open windows and a better fan, and it made all the difference in the world. I took her advice to heart, even though I wasn't thrilled about changing my cozy setup. That first night, I cracked my bedroom window just a bit, letting a soft breeze slip in, and swapped my weak fan for a stronger one I'd stashed in the closet, setting it to a steady hum and aiming for a cool 68 degrees, the magic number Lan swore by. I climbed into bed a little unsure, wondering if I'd freeze, but as I settled in, I felt the difference. My skin cooled, my breathing slowed, and I drifted off without that sticky, restless feeling I was used to. When I woke up, I was fresher, no sweat-soaked sheets, no dull ache in my head, just a crisp, rested body ready to greet the morning. The first week was an adjustment, I'll admit. I'd wake up checking if I was too cold, but soon I couldn't imagine sleeping any other way, and now I'm sleeping through the night, no tossing, no turning, just pure, unbroken rest. My bedroom's my cool oasis now, and I wake up feeling like I've had a mini vacation every time. Lan was dead on when she said, "Heat's your sleep's enemy, cool it down and win." It's turned my nights into something I look forward to. I dug into it more with Lan over a weekend call, wanting the full scoop, and she gave me the lowdown while I jotted notes on a napkin. She said your body needs to drop its core temperature to slip into deep sleep, and a stuffy, warm room fights that natural process, keeping you on edge and making your rest shallow and choppy. A cooler space, around 65 to 70 degrees, lets that cooling happen, aligning your body with sleep's rhythm so you can sink into those long, dreamy cycles that leave you refreshed. I used to wake up sticky and spent, my hair plastered to my neck, wondering why I felt so awful after 8 hours, but now I'm crisp and clear-headed, hopping out of bed with energy I hadn't felt in years. Judy tried it too after I raved about it over coffee, cracked her window and turned up her fan, and told me, I haven't slept this good in ages. My husband even got on board, grumbling at first about the chill but admitting after a week, okay, you win, I sleep better now. It's a tweak that feels like a luxury, turning my bedroom into a sleep haven instead of a sweatbox. These 3 habits were my sleep bandits. Late night scrolling kept my brain buzzing when it should have been calm, big bedtime snacks had my stomach working overtime instead of resting, and a stuffy room turned my nights into a restless wrestle instead of a peaceful escape. Fixing them was simpler than I'd ever imagined, cutting off the phone early, eating light and early, and cooling my space. And now I'm sleeping by 10 p.m., waking at 6 a.m., full of life and ready to tackle my day with a smile. I've got my own little routine now. I leave my phone in the living room by 8:30, finish dinner by 7 with something easy like grilled fish and a salad, and keep my bedroom cool with a fan humming softly and a window cracked just enough for a breeze. Lan does it her Raleigh way, reading novels by 8, snacking on a few nuts if she's hungry, and letting the night air flow through her open windows, but the core's the same, small changes, big rest. It's not a one-size-fits-all fix, so if sleep's a real struggle, talk to a doctor, but for most of us, these tweaks work wonders, gentle and natural. Judy's hooked now, says she feels sharper every morning, and my sister in Atlanta's jumped on board, texting me, I'm a new woman, no more late-night chaos. My grandson even noticed when he stayed over, asking, Grandma, why's your room so cool? I slept awesome. It's catching on, spreading like a little secret among my crew, and I love seeing it lift them up too. It took time, I won't pretend it was instant. Those first nights without my phone or snacks felt strange, and I fussed with the fan settings more than once. But I stuck with it, tweaking bit by bit, and now sleep's my partner again, not my foe. Lan showed me rest isn't lost, it's just waiting to be reclaimed, and I feel it every night as I drift off easy and wake up whole. I tease my husband now, honey, I'm the sleep queen again. And he laughs, you're my dream girl, always have been. If you're ready to take back your nights, try it tonight, put that phone down, skip the late bite, cool your space, and feel the depth roll in. Deep sleep's pure gold, like Charlotte's still, starry nights, and it's yours for the taking. Loved this sleep rescue? Follow Harmonic Aging for more golden years gems like this, hit that subscribe button, and let's keep thriving together.